please, everyone take their seats. Scouts would take seats too.
Hi, my name is Tegan Restaghini. I want to welcome everyone to today's Veterans Day ceremony. I'm so glad you're all able to make it to celebrate and honor those who have served our country. I'd like to introduce the Scouts who will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. If you're wearing any head covers, please remove them, and please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, Scouts. Next up will be Susie Whalen, who will speak about the importance of this day and what it means to veterans. Hi, everyone. My name is Susie Whalen. A lot of you know my dad, Mike Whalen. He prepared a speech for today. As all of you know, he has been very involved in Veterans Day for many years and honoring those who have served. So he's prepared a speech for today. I'm going to do my best to do it justice on his behalf, but don't worry, he'll be back next year to do it justice yet again. My fellow veterans, maybe some of you have been asked the question, why did you serve? Most likely, you were not prepared to give an answer because at the time of entry into the service, making important decisions wasn't a new skill that you had quite mastered yet. However, you were probably influenced by your childhood experiences and your relationship with your parents. At some point you realized the reason that you made a commitment to join was to be part of the constant battle to safeguard America, deriving inspiration from the three most important tenets of life: God, family, and country. As for faith in God, our Declaration of Independence recognizes God as the source of our fundamental rights. Those rights were identified as life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Our Pledge of Allegiance includes the phrase, "One nation under God." Our currency carries the words, "In God we trust." And our dog tags are stamped with our religious preference. Many soldiers have leaned on their faith to guide and protect them in battle, to give them greater strength and not to fear death. A poem by George Hunter reads, "It's said that there are no atheists in foxholes, and that soldiers all pray not to die. But they don't really believe that lie, that prayer alone will keep them from perdition. Why else would they all cry, 'Praise the Lord,' but pass the ammunition?" As for family, it is the center of our existence. Most certainly, it is the cradle of inspiration for all things. So many of us came from military families, with a proud heritage, yet tempered with humble stories of past conflicts. Lifelong love of family separates us from all of God's other creatures, and each family is unique, with special memories mixed with occasional struggles. The stability and mutual support and respect in family life creates a sense of individual obligation to protect and defend those that we love so much. Thus, becoming a member of the armed forces is a natural transition for many young men and women. Traditional or not, the family is an important economic and social unit. While one of the primary functions of a family is to provide the framework for reproduction, it also plays a major role to plant the seeds of patriotism and service. Those we serve with many times also become a second family with lifelong bonds and friendship. Whoever you consider family, they are the ones that you protect forever. As for country, our United States of America, land of the free, home of the brave, founded by those seeking a start to new life, free from tyranny and repression. The result of this is a government for the people, by the people, of the people. The convergence of God, family, and country has produced the greatest nation on earth. In just 250 years, the American generations have created a society with unabated allegiance to country. No matter our political differences, we realize that defending our homeland is the best way to maintain our freedoms. All citizens, whether servicemen or not, must have respect for the law, reverence for authority, and support for human rights. Our community must continue to prepare our youth to take up tomorrow's responsibilities, and it's awesome to see youth in the room today. This includes the moral and spiritual values in our basic American documents and promoting interest in our country's history. We can accomplish so much by remembering why we chose to serve. The pride we keep in our hearts for faith, family, and country should serve us well. This Veterans Day, let us resolve to not only feel satisfaction for our own accomplishments, but be thankful for our God-given opportunities and for our loved ones. Thank you very much, and Semper Fi.
Now I'd like to introduce Eric Sonnet, who will help us honor those we've lost.
Very humbling. It's very humbling to stand at this podium today and recognize our fallen veterans from this year. Before I do that, I'm going to read a proclamation from our governor, Charles Baker, proclaiming today Veterans Day. Very official looking. This is how it's presented. Commonwealth of Massachusetts, a proclamation. Whereas, since the Commonwealth's colonial days, thousands of men and women have served our country in defense of freedom and liberty, and whereas, on November 11th, 1918, the armistice was signed by the Allied nations and Germany, ending World War I, the war to end all wars, after 4 years of conflict. And whereas, since that date, every November, people from around the nation have gathered to honor our veterans, and whereas there are approximately 388,000 veterans living in Massachusetts, and whereas today we are reminded of the great sacrifices and contributions our veterans have made to our country, and whereas we honor and salute those who serve our country throughout the generations with honor, patriotism, and courage, and whereas it is appropriate that all Massachusetts citizens remember the bravery of those who serve their country, so that their dedication and sacrifice serve as a reminder of the cost of our freedom. And whereas, in November 2022, the world will commemorate the 104th anniversary of the armistice that ended the fighting in World War I at 11 a.m. November 11th, 1918, the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. Now therefore, I, Charles D. Baker, Governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, do hereby proclaim November 11th, 2022 to be Veterans Day, and urge all the citizens of the Commonwealth to take cognizance of this event and participate physically in its observance. Given at the Executive Chamber in Boston, this 11th day of November in the year 2022 and of the independence of the United States of America, the 246th anniversary. Signed by Charles D. Baker, Lieutenant Governor Karen Polito, and William Francis Galvin, Secretary of State. So we are official. Today is Veterans Day. Now, when we talk about Veterans Day, it's been our tradition to mention all those of us who have passed this year, all veterans. There were 20 of us who passed this year. They were Lee Jackson, 72 years old, Navy. He was a 1967 Hopkinton High School grad and worked for the State Department. He was living in Florida and leaves his mother and brothers. Stephen Gates, 76 years old, Air Force and Hopkinton High School grad who worked in the printing business. He leaves his daughters, his sister, and a brother. Thomas Brock, 82, Army. Retired from the Mass State Police, he's survived by his wife and 2 sons and a daughter. Joseph Pine, 81, U.S. Army. Hopkinton High School grad, and he was class president. Many years as a long-haul driver. Leaves his wife, daughter, sister, and a brother. Richard Bright, 88, Air Force. Hopkinton High School grad, truck driver. He leaves many relatives in Hopkinton and a daughter in Florida. Joe Hughes was 87, U.S. Army. 30 years as a UPS driver, longtime member of our Post 202 in Hopkinton. He is survived by his wife, his children, and many grandchildren. George Seeley, 76, commonly known as Frank Seeley. Air Force, Hopkinton High grad. He worked at Bay State Abrasives for many years. He leaves his wife, children, and grandchildren. Paul Danahy, 93, U.S. Marine Corps and U.S. Army. Hopkinton High School grad. He became a judge and a state rep in Tampa, Florida. He is survived by his wife, a sister, sons, and a daughter. Aubrey Doyle, 90 years old, U.S. Army. Hopkinton High School grad, beloved teacher and coach at Hopkinton High School, and he is survived by his 6 children, 21 grandchildren, and 13 great-great-grandchildren. Gary Verdure, 82, U.S. Marine Corps, retired. Hopkinton High School grad, survived by his brothers and sisters. Mark Lumbrough, he was 73, U.S. Marine Corps, Hopkinton High School grad, 1966. He worked as an electrician and is survived by his children and his siblings. Walter Ryan, 72, U.S. Army, longtime Hopkinton resident and Post 202 member. Christo Mastriajanus, he was 86, U.S. Army. He was a mechanical engineer and is survived by his children, his sister, and 4 grandchildren. Robert Tyler, 78, Hopkinton High School graduate, U.S. Army. He went by the nickname of Porky. He worked for over 30 years for General Motors and is survived by his daughter and grandchildren. Joe Markarian, 102 years old, U.S. Army. longtime music director at Hopkinton High School. Joseph Cully, 86, Air Force, worked over 30 years at Raytheon and is survived by his wife, children, and grandchildren. Lenny Robbins, he was 78 in U.S. Army. He was a Vietnam vet and was a regular at our Friday Hopkinton Veterans Breakfast. Alicia Chambeau, 60, U.S. Navy, foreman for 12 years in the Navy, very active in Hopkinton Veterans activities, and is survived by her 3 children and 3 brothers. Edward O'Leary, 89, U.S. Army, worked at Perini Corp and is survived by his wife, 7 children, his brother, and many, many grandchildren. William McMillan, 80, U.S. Navy, 1959 grad of Hopkinton High School, worked as a builder and is survived by his wife, his children, 2 brothers and a sister, and many grandchildren. And finally, John Donahue, 89, U.S. Army. He was a partner at McCarthy Pools in Southborough and is survived by his wife, children, and grandchildren. 20 was a lot to lose this year. With the help of God, perhaps we won't lose that many this coming year. It's very gratifying to see so many of you here today to literally say veterans are important. As the governor proclaimed today, we remember veterans, and for all intents and purposes, please keep us in your prayers. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for coming, and I'd like to remind you that there will be a Veterans Celebration Dinner at 5 p.m. at the Rod and Gun Club. Thank you everyone.